Hello everyone! Today we'll be exploring code switching on digital platforms and how people perform different identities depending on the social media space they're using. So, as shown in our table of contents, we will be looking at several theoretical perspectives that help explain how digital environments shape identity, communication, and visibility online. Global media flows by Appadurai. So, Appadurai explains globalization through what he calls mediascapes, which are the global flows of media images and stories that travel through television, the internet, and digital media. These flows expose people to many different lifestyles and identities around the world. However, these representations don't spread evenly, and people interpret them differently depending on their cultural and social context. As a result, media plays a key role in shaping how people imagine identity and ways of living. When we apply this idea to social media, we can see how it relates to digital identity. Platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok all circulate different representations of identity and encourage different styles of self-presentation. Because of this, users often adjust how they present themselves depending on the platform and the audience. For example, someone might appear more professional on LinkedIn, but more casual or lifestyle focused on Instagram or TikTok. This shift in identity across platforms is what we refer to as digital code switching.
Erdmann Goffman compares social behavior to a theatrical stage play, where individuals act as performers and others form the audience. According to him, the front stage represents a curated identity shown to others, characterized by intentional and purposeful behavior that typically follows a routinized and learned script, while the backstage is a private space where the uninhibited or true version of the self, devoid of expectation and norm, and uncaring of perception, is allowed to exist. The backstage also involves rehearsal, where individuals reflect, plan, and manage how they present themselves. The same is applied digitally. However, performance now grows fragmented due to conflicting demands of different platforms. On platforms like TikTok and Instagram, the front stage demands an aspirational self, with visibility being measured through social capital, such as likes, comments, and views, and rewarded with relevance or the user being deemed as trendy. On the other hand, the front stage on platforms like LinkedIn constitute a self that is achievement-oriented. Here, visibility is measured through career capital, such as job opportunities, referrals, or industry insight, and is rewarded with success, with the user being deemed as productive. These distinctive and sometimes opposing selves, manufactured per platform, characterize what we refer to as code switching in the digital age.
As we talk about power through visibility, my main research focuses on Foucault's idea of surveillance. In Discipline and Punish, his book, he explains how systems of observation shape behavior. His example of the panopticon shows how individuals begin regulating themselves when they know they might be watched, and on social media, a similar dynamic appears. Users know how their content can be seen by different audiences, so they carefully manage how they present themselves. This constant awareness of being visible encourages people to curate their identity online. So who controls power? Visibility online is not only shaped by audiences, but digital platforms also influence what becomes visible through algorithms. Scholars like Taina Boucher describe this as algorithmic visibility, where platform systems determine which posts are promoted or hidden. Now, because of this, users often adapt their behavior to maintain visibility by following trends, using hashtags, or shaping their content in certain ways. This adds another dimension to Foucault's theory, suggesting that power online is shaped not only by surveillance but also by platform algorithms that control attention.
Roland Barthes' concept of myth helps explain how media representation transforms cultural ideas into meanings that appear natural and self-evident. Rather than presenting arguments directly, media often works through repetition, gradually normalizing particular ways of seeing the world. Over time, these repeated representations become accepted as common sense rather than recognized as constructed meanings. Marek similarly argues that social media platforms encourage specific forms of self-presentation that align with platform norms. In this sense, social media platforms circulate different myths of identity, be it the myth of professional success, or the myth of authentic lifestyle, or the myth of expertise and unfiltered opinion. This can be observed clearly across social media platforms. In the examples shown here, the same individual, Dr. Mike, presents different identities across LinkedIn, X, and Instagram. On LinkedIn, the profile emphasizes professional expertise and credibility. On X, the tone shifts towards commentary and opinion. On Instagram, the content focuses more on lifestyle and personal relatability. From a Barthesian perspective, these platforms circulate different myths of identity. Users therefore engage in forms of code switching, adapting their self-presentation to align with the expectations and cultural norms of each platform.
Manuel Castells describes modern society as a network society, where social structures and communication are organized through digital networks rather than traditional institutions like governments or media companies. In this system, power operates through the flow of information across networks, especially on digital platforms. Social media platforms connect users globally and allow information to circulate rapidly between them. However, visibility within these networks is not equal. Users who are more connected, active, or aligned with platform algorithms tend to be more visible. This idea explains why code switching happens across social media platforms. Each platform functions as a different network with its own norms, audiences, and expectations. For example, people often present a professional identity on LinkedIn, a more curated lifestyle on Instagram, and a casual, humorous identity on TikTok. From Castell's perspective, this reflects how individuals navigate multiple digital networks in order to gain visibility and engagement. Users adapt their identities to fit the logic of each network environment.